Let me unmute myself. Okay. Um, so, um, do you hear me? Okay, thank you. Today my presentation is about hate speech. Mostly, I will going to concentrate mostly on hate speech produced by Azerbaijani leaders. Honestly, I spent so much time researching distant past and researching Armenian genocide, what happened 100 years ago, and without paying more attention to what is going on just around me, just nearby. And but now I encountered with some strange, of course, from time to time I encountered with some strange remarks, statements coming from Azerbaijani, but I thought that it was just form of speech until the war started, and we faced the violent actions, the violent deeds, the collective violence implemented by Azerbaijani forces in the territories which they call liberated from Armenians. And in some villages, for example, we saw the brutal killings of civilians, and these civilians were covered by Armenian flag and flag of Artsakh, and they were killed just because they belonged to Armenian or Artsakh. They were killed because of they belonged to Armenian nation. And I decided just look through this hate speech, this dehumanizing statement done by the Azerbaijani leaders, and not only leaders but also members of some members of society, Azerbaijani society. But of course, I mainly tried to concentrate on leadership, because there were so many examples that I needed to choose what to present for today. So let's start from the beginning. On October 3rd, Armenia's Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan, in his address to the nation, stated that the objective of Azerbaijani Turkish bandits is not about claiming territory. Their objective is the Armenian people. Their objective is to continue their genocidal policy. And he had also stated on Twitter, why has Turkey returned to the South Caucasus 100 years later to continue the Armenian genocide? This idea that the Armenian people are in danger of genocide was repeated in many interviews and statements by the Armenian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the inclusion of the term genocide is not being loosely thrown around, of course, we can speak about the historical memory, the collective memory, which always push Armenians to think about this existential threat. But at the same time, the potential for genocide against ethnic Armenians in Artsakh, in my opinion, is very real and highly probable. First of all, because societies that have committed genocide and massacres in the past tend to repeat them, according to famous, well-known genocide prediction and prevention scheme or formula suggested by genocide scholars Barbara Harf and Ted Wood. And Turkey perpetrated genocide against Armenians in the Ottoman Empire from 1915 to 1923. Azerbaijan committed genocidal acts in Sumgait, Baku, Ganzank, and Marağa in 1988, 1992. And the likelihood of genocide in such societies increases if these crimes are not acknowledged or condemned, but even glorified. Turkey and let's start with Turkey very briefly, because I think it's important, because Turkey is part of conflict now. Turkey continued to deny the Armenian genocide, marking its rhetoric more aggressive in recent years, and even blaming the victims, suggesting that Armenians massacred Anatolian Muslims, even women and children, as stated President of Turkey, Erdogan, in around April 24 this year. We not only president, but also simultaneously various officials have repeatedly hinted that Turkey is ready to resume giving a lesson to Armenians. Thus, in this year, in March, President of Turkey declared that the deportation of Armenians in 1915 was the most reasonable decision at the time. In May, he made another famous claim, saying that during one of these speeches, he stated, "We will not allow the leftovers of the sword and terrorists to revolt again. They still exist, although their numbers has decreased in our country." As Turkish journalist Uzay Bulut mentioned, the use of leftovers of the sword does not represent the denial of massacres of genocides. On the contrary, it declares the pride of the perpetrators. It means, yes, we slaughtered Christians and other non-Muslims because they deserved it. Though their denial, the Turkish authorities justify the Ottoman crimes, but also promote new genocides. This approach cannot be spread to society, bolstering the image of Armenians as enemies. All public official polls show that the bulk of the population has a hostile attitude toward Armenians, and hate speeches and attacks against Armenian churches and other properties are on the rise. We had many attacks this year in Istanbul against Armenian churches. And the last and ridiculous maybe incident in Turkey was the targeting of Armenians in Istanbul, blaming them for supposedly spreading coronavirus in Turkey. Many examples, when these people who were arrested after attacking Armenians, saying that they were Armenians who brought coronavirus to Turkey. It should be emphasized that this attitude goes even beyond hostility, when being called an Armenian is considered an extreme insult, reaching the level of racist anti-Armenian intolerance. The most remarkable was Prime Minister Erdogan's case, when speaking in television, speaking about others insulting him. In TV interview, he stated, "I was called Georgian. Pardon me for saying this, but they said even uglier things. They called me an Armenian." Now, let's come to Azerbaijani case. The position of the Azerbaijani leadership and society is more representative, more aggressive maybe. For years, anti-Armenian discourse and propaganda have been part of official state policy. Everyday indoctrination is carried out from schools to state media and demonizes Armenians, presenting them as the absolute evil. In his many speeches, Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev himself made openly racist, xenophobic remarks. In one of his famous addresses, he spoke about hypocritical global Armenian conspiracy and Western politicians who are embroiled in corruption and bribery. For me, it's a direct reproduction of Adolf Hitler's global Jewish conspiracy thesis, reiterating many times in Nazi speeches as a pretext and justification for the Holocaust. In his pronouncement, Aliyev derives Armenians of the right to live in Artsakh and the Republic of Armenia, asserting that not only Karabakh, but also other regions of Armenia, including the capital Yerevan, should become parts of Azerbaijan. You can find all of his speeches in the website of the president of Azerbaijan. The latest highlight was the menace of nuclear catastrophe made by Azerbaijani Defense Ministry spokesman, who announced that their weapons are capable to hitting the Metsabor atomic energy station with high accuracy, which will turn into catastrophe for Armenia. The problem is not only this anti-Armenian rhetoric, but also its consequences. Such hatred toward Armenians leads to the glorification of killing of Armenians. But before coming to this glorification, just some example of this hate speech. For example, words of the Allah Shukur Pasha-Zadeh, the spiritual leader of Azerbaijan. Dishonesty and betrayal are rooted in Armenian genes. They have shared meals and bread with us, and now they publicly blame and accuse us. Or president of Azerbaijan National Academy of Sciences. Armenianhood is a unique, evil, and hateful phenomenon. Or one of the editor-in-chief of newspapers. Armenians are internal enemies. Wherever I see an Armenian, I will cut their tongues and publicly denounce them. Even if I am torn apart, I will always abhor them. If the war breaks out again, I will not spare even children. Or some dehumanization cases. We talked yesterday about this comparison with Armenians or Jews with diseases, with microbes, and here also the head of one of the departments of presidential administration. Armenia has turned into a cancer turmoil of the region, and many other examples you can find in media, even, as I said, in presidential website. And we don't have time for all of them, but the last I wanted to just bring your attention. The definition, the concept of word Armenians is clear for everyone, except the Armenians themselves, of course. It is villainous, cowardice, and betrayal. Probably when God was creating them, it was not in the mood. He was not in the mood and endowed them with the lowest human qualities. And the last thing I wanted to stress on is the case of the glorification of killers murderers of Armenians. It's, I think, quite a famous case when Armenian soldier, in Budapest in 2004, killing of Gurgel Markaryan happened. In Budapest, Azerbaijani officer Ramil Safarov, during the NATO training program, entered the hotel room of Armenian officer Gurgen Markaryan while he was sleeping and axed him to death. Safarov was sentenced to life imprisonment in Hungary, but later he was transferred to Azerbaijan, where he was released and honored as a hero. Azerbaijani human rights defender Elmira Suleymanova stated that Ramil Safarov should become an example of patriotism for the Azerbaijani youth. Another examples of such speech, Novruz Mamadov, head of one of the Department of Presidential Administration. It is very touching to see this son of the homeland, which was thrown in jail after they defended his country, honor and dignity of the people. Or the words of Akshin Mehdiyev, who was permanent representative of Azerbaijan to the Council of Europe. He responded instinctively after the murder of Gurgen Markaryan that he does not advise Armenians to sleep safely until the Karabakh conflict is settled, and that until then, incidents like in Budapest cannot be ruled out. So this incident showed that killing Armenian, murdering Armenian is considered as something normal, something not only normal, but something which can be glorified in this society. And that's why the incidents we see now in this war, when elderly people were tortured and to death in one of the villages in Azerbaijan. Also, when captured Armenian soldiers were beheaded and their bodies were brutally desecrated, and that in all these previous and these ongoing wars, Azerbaijan has always targeted peaceful settlements. All of this proves that Armenians face slaughter if any Armenian territory is occupied. And the last thing, just to the connection between the Genocide Convention we mentioned many times today in different presentations, the genocide, I think for me, the problem is the humanity is continuously confronted with the disturbing confusion, and genocides become the subject of coverage, discussion, study, remembrance, and sometimes condemnation only after they are successfully implemented. It happened not only with the Armenian genocide and the Holocaust, but also with the destruction of people that took place in age of mass media in Rwanda, in Yugoslavia, in Darfur, in Yazidi homeland, in northern Iraq. But Article 3 of the United Nations Convention of the Prevention and the Punishment of the Crime of Genocide clearly defines that committing genocide itself is only one, but not the only crime that can be punished under the convention. And the others include conspiracy to commit genocide, direct and public incitement to commit genocide, attempt to commit genocide, and complicity in genocide. For a long time, all these actions, I think, have been neglected, even while being an integral part of the Genocide Convention. Moreover, they are not commonly considered as genocidal by the media, in political vocabulary, and even in academia. Meanwhile, the slogan "never again," adopted by the international community and repeated so often that it is devalued, maybe, refers to all types of genocide crimes and not only the last and irreversible stage, the elimination of the target group. So I think we should pay more attention on hate speech, to analyze the sentiments in societies and elites of the countries, in my case of Turkey and Azerbaijan, and understand that these cases of dehumanization and cases of hate speech, they can be considered not only as warning signs for genocide, but also as genocidal in nature, as conspiracy to commit genocide, and as direct and public incitement to commit genocide. As something that which, according to the UN Convention, are acts that our states of the world are obliged to prevent and punish. Thank you.